Now the European Union is planning on banning all sale of petrol and diesel cars from 2035. And it's really sad. Now I understand why they have to do it, because the pollution and all that, they need to get it under control. They want to stop the sale of cars, but 2035, I don't know if that's honestly a reasonable expectation at the point, because so if we're going to stop sale of all cars from 2035, then the next option is going to be EVs. And as of right now, the EV tech isn't all that there yet. I mean, there's issues with charging speeds, the battery longevity, the recycling of batteries. These are real practical issues, and as we all know, cars are mostly practical things. We buy them for use, for going places, carrying a lot of people quickly, effectively. And EVs can't really do that yet. They're good for normal use, I mean, for day-to-day use when everything is in your control. But there are a lot of problems with EVs. Now, the charging issue, that might be fixed soon, considering that BYD is saying that they can charge their car and give their car a lot of range in 5 minutes. So if that tech becomes common, then that issue will be fixed. But the battery range, no, that's still, I guess, an issue. But if the charging is that great, then the battery tech might improve as well. Well, the battery tech not improving might be an issue anymore. But then there's the issue of the recycling of the batteries, the resale value, because the batteries have to be replaced at some point, and after a certain point, the person who buys the car has to replace the batteries. And the battery cost seems to be very expensive depending on the manufacturer and the country. And that's something people have to take in mind, because everyone's going to sell their cars, and when normal people buy their cars, they take resale value into consideration. I mean, even with other brands that have petrol and diesel cars, it's a consideration. So a complete ban in 2035, I don't know if that's something they can actually do. I mean, this is the whole of Europe, all the countries inside the European Union, and that's a big deal. Now, whether other countries will follow suit, I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, they might make stricter emission norms or something, or they might say that certain cities with a lot of pollution aren't allowed to use petrol and diesel cars. That's something, but a complete ban, it doesn't seem that realistic, unless there's huge advancements in technology and all that very quickly. Sure, no problem, but I haven't seen anything about that for a while. Now, there is some new tech in phone batteries that means that phones with smaller batteries can hold more range and won't drain as quickly. Now, that kind of technology can be converted into car technology. That would be great. That would be a huge step in the future. But as of right now, I don't know. And not just that. I'm also sad that sports cars and supercars will be going EV. Because that's kind of sad. And I don't want sports cars and supercars being, because part of the experience is the engine. And there is the stuff with the e-fuel, but I don't know how practical an option that will be in that time. And I hope they'll make some exceptions for supercars at least to be using petrol and diesel after that. And because those cars need the engine, that's part of the experience. And you could make the production number limited and not enough to harm the environment a little less. You could do that. And not just that, if it's going to be a blanket, if it's going to be a ban in 2035, then it's very likely that people before that, there's going to be a sale of a lot of cars before that, maybe, depending on the EV situation. People might end up buying a lot more petrol cars and just using them all out till they cannot use them on the road anymore. But But I guess that probably means that people are going to be buying cheaper cars, and the more expensive cars, those cars, the sales are going to go down because it won't be a practical option. Spending that much money for a car, you probably won't be able to sell or use after a while. But cheap cars, I think, cheap cars that people feel they can use for until the limit, those cars are going to sell well before that. The cheaper SUVs, especially. But anyway, it is what it is, and let's wait and see what happens. It's a decade away. Anything can happen in that time. So let's wait and see.